Ah, shit. Here we go again.
Welcome to another episode of Donta's Storytime. Make sure y'all hit the like button, leave a comment, and share this video. Let's get to it.
So we in the day room, and the deputy come through, and he like, yo, Donta, come here. So I get up, and I go over there towards the control booth. I'm like, what's up? He was like, yo, the council want to talk to you. So I'm like, all right, what's up? So I'm sitting there for a minute, then they buzz the door, then I go out, and the counselor, she's sitting right there. She's like, hey, Donta, do you want a job? I'm like, a job? Now, at this time, y'all know what I was in there doing. Me and the homies was, running the protection scheme. You give us items or you put money on this cash app every week and we will guarantee your safety. Okay? So I'm thinking in my head, like, man, I don't need no job, man. So I'm like, what position? Because the only position that I would do is the kitchen. And I'll tell y'all why in a minute. So she was like, well, there's a spot that's opened up in the kitchen. And somebody put in word in for you to, get the spot. And when I heard her say that, first of all, I'm thinking, who just, because don't nobody quit of going in that kitchen. Nobody just leave out, because that's a highly coveted position. And I'm going to tell y'all why. This is the reason why you want to work in the kitchen. Number one, of course, you get extra food. Number two, you could take that food if you do it the right way and bring it back to your dorm and sell it for a lot of money. And number three, well, who rules, the one that, I say this is one of Dante's prison proverbs. He who rules the food rules the world, right? So I said, yeah, I'll take it. So she was like, well, you go, so I ain't gonna put his name out because he got involved in some crazy stuff later on in prison, so I ain't gonna put his name out. But she says such and such is gonna meet up with you later on, and he gonna give you the walkthrough of what time y'all gotta be there and blah 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 blah. So I said, all right. So I walked back, got buzzed back in. I'm back in the dorm. So I went to the homies. I said, hey y'all, I got a job. And T was like, man, what you mean you got a job? I said, I got a job. I'm about to be working in the kitchen. And Al was like, how the heck you get that? I said, I don't know. They said somebody quit, and well, then somebody recommended for me to go. So Homicide was like, that don't sound like no setup, bro. I said, I'm gonna find out. You already know I stay with it. And yeah, Donta always stayed with that sort of justice. So even if it was a setup, if somebody tried to try to take me out the game or whatever, or get me in this kitchen job or whatever, I always stayed 10-20. Y'all say, Donta, what is 10-20? I keep my head on the swivel like an owl, right? So I'm like, man, I'm about to be bringing back all type of thing. Onions, chicken sandwiches, bread, eggs, boiled eggs, man, the whole nine, man. So yeah, our spreads is about to be deep. Pause. Anyway, hold. Let me double pause on that. Double pause. All right. So, hold on, y'all. Hold on. Let me get it together. Because that just threw me off. I said spread deep. Pause. Double pause. So, next thing you know, listen, y'all. If y'all listening to this story, and y'all didn't get the notification, YouTube changes algorithm. I'm going to need for y'all to first unsubscribe to the channel, then subscribe back to the channel, and then hit that notification bell. Okay, so y'all can get all my notifications when I drop a new story time. And if y'all forgot to hit the like button, hit the like button. All right, so let's get back to it. So anyway, about 3 hours will go by, and the dude come through, right? And he said, Donta? I said, yeah, what's up? He said, all right, come on. So I'm walking with him, and he like, I'm saying, yo, off the bat. I said, what happened with, whoever quit or whatever? He was like, oh, man, no, they caught him stealing. And I looked at him like, don't everybody be stealing in the kitchen? And he was like, nah, he was just doing too much. Like, he was like really doing the most. I said, oh, okay. So we get buzzed through a couple doors, and now we in the chow hall. Now we in the back in the kitchen, right? So he let me know, like, all right, look, you gonna be on second shift, not first shift. Now, second shift is the most coveted shift anyway, okay? Because first shift, yeah, you got the breakfast stuff or whatever, but second shift, you got the main food. You got the hamburgers, you got the meat, the chicken, you got the goulash, you got the hamburger meat, you got everything, right? So he giving me the rundown of everything, of how everything is set up or whatever, what I'm going to be doing. Now, my job was to go to the freezer and bring out the meat, right? Now, when he said that, my anxiety, like, risen to a level that, I was thinking about danger, like red alert, because I'm like, why would they have me going back and forth from the freezer if they ain't trying to lock me in there or try to push that blade on me and leave me in the freezer? Because I done heard stories about that. Matter of fact, I'm going to tell y'all a little side story. Y'all know how I do it. Now, hold up. I remember back when I was 15 years old, when I first got my first job at McDonald's. Now, they had me I was on the grill, and I remember the first time I went in that cooler. No, second time, because the first time is when they did the walkthrough, and they didn't tell me, like, yo, there's a button right here you can push if you get locked in here, and it'll open the door, right? So I remember that part, but they never told me that there's a button to push if you ever get locked in here, right? That's what they supposed to told me in the walkthrough. But long story short, I think on my third day, I ran out of meat. So I had to go in the cooler, and when I got in there, the door closed. And my anxiety, just like I said, my anxiety raised to a crazy danger level, like when I was in prison in that cooler, because I panicked. I panicked because the door closed, and I instantly dropped the meat. It was in a box, and I ran to push the door, and it wouldn't open. So, man, now that I'm thinking about that, I'm getting creeped out. Y'all should see me right now. I got goosebumps on my arm. But I got the banging on the door. Boom, 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 boom. And then somebody, thank God, was walking by. They opened it up. I said, man, I locked myself in there. They said, there's a red button right here on the side, man. So, yeah. Hey, in the comment section, what was your first job? My first job was McDonald's, and that's when I was about 15. In the comment section, let me know what your first job was. But anyway, let's get back to the prison story. So he showed me, like, okay, yeah, this is what you're going to be doing, and all this and that, or whatever. You're going to have to help unload the truck on Wednesdays, whatever, right? So when he told me that, he was like, all right, everything good, everything straight? I said, yeah, everything good. Now, in prison, there's supposed to be cameras everywhere. In prison, there's blind spots where things go down. And I don't even know why I'm telling y'all this story, but I'm gonna go ahead and tell y'all. So I get back to the dorm. I'm talking to the homeboys, letting them know the whole play or whatever. And I'm like, yeah. Next day come. I get called out. I'm gonna go to the kitchen, right? Now, there's this dude, I'm gonna put his name out there. They call him Sebo. They call him Sebo from Detroit, Michigan, right? And I'm putting his name out there because when I got out, I moved to Pontiac, Bloomfield on the river, off of Telegraph Road, right? And I never knew what Sebo was in there for, right? And Sebo was this big dude. Dude was maybe about 6'2", maybe 280, 290, right? Always was boastful, always was loud, right? But I never see Sebo fight. I never seen Sebo actually get into any altercations, but I just always see him barking on dudes. And, a lot of dudes was bowing down to this dude because of his size, right? And I never liked Sebo. So anyway, Oh yeah, I'm gonna tell y'all the outside story too. But no, I forget. I'll just tell y'all. I found out that Sibo was a offender, a child offender, right? So, long story short, he was messing with his wife's 13-year-old daughter, and that's how he got caught, because she ended up pregnant or whatever, and the kid was his, obviously. But he come to prison, and because of his size and his intimidation tactics, he just always was loud and all this and that. So I didn't know that he was a child offender until when I got out and I was living in Pontiac, and he was living at this halfway house for, offenders, right? And that's when I realized it, because I said, hold on, that's Sibo coming out that halfway house. And I'm like, okay, and now it makes sense. But anyway, so Sibo was in there, and I'll never forget this, man. So when I got in there, right, I was told not to go to the freezer until after 20 minutes. Now, this is the thing. When there's a sock on the freezer door, you do not go in there. If there's a sock on that freezer door, again, you don't even go back there, all right? And I'm going to tell y'all why. You would think that, and I know I know y'all read the title and everything, but you would think that, oh, well, maybe they in there doing a drug transaction, okay? Maybe they down there busting down a pack. Maybe they just in there talking business. Nah, you would hope so. I mean, we are men, and, that's only the real blind spot in the prison, but in this part right here is the freezer, right? Nah. So I heard what he said, right? He said, don't go in there, right? When that sock on that door. So, you know me, I'm hard-headed. I'm hard-headed. I want to know what's going on, right? So I'm like, all right. So now I can't do my job because I got to go get these hot dogs out the freezer, right? No pun intended. So the sock is still there. So I'm waiting. Then another guy like, yo, Dante, go get the hot dogs, man. What you waiting on? So I was like, man, the sock on but the deputy just walked in. I couldn't really say what I really wanted to say. I'm like, yo, the sock right, and I seen the deputy walk up, and I said, oh, okay. So then the deputy was like, hey, man, what are you doing, man? Like, why you not prepping? I'm like, oh, okay. He like, man, go get them hot dogs, man. What are you doing? Is you high or something? I said, no, I ain't high. I got a dip. I got it. So then I got to walking off towards, right, the freezer. So when I put my hand on it, on the door, I kind of like banged on it a little bit, and I ain't hear nothing. And so I just opened the freezer. Now, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we about to enter the Terror Dome. Well, now I done seen a lot in prison. I done walked in on situations, walked right out. I done seen things that I didn't supposed to see. I done seen men kiss each other right by the library, and I done walked past, and they tried to play it off like something else was going on. And what I seen that day, my eyes, it didn't prepare me. I wasn't prepared for this. So when I opened the freezer door, there were 3 men, including Sibo, in the back of the cooler, right there. I mean, anybody could have seen. I wish somebody else seen this instead of my eyes seeing this. But there goes Sibo and 2 punks. And welcome to the Terror Dome. Now, I'm not going to go into detail of what they was doing, but put it this way. What they was doing, I understand why God, right, destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah. And I'm going to leave it at that. So I was shocked. I was like in shock. The way Sibo looked at me, I said, oh, and I just closed the freezer, right? So then I turns around and the dep is standing right there. The deputy is standing right there. And he like, what are you doing? I was stuck. I couldn't say nothing. The dep like kind of pushed me out the way a little bit. Like, man, watch out. And he opened the freezer and he was like, what the is y'all doing? What the is y'all doing? I guess at this time, Sibo pulling up his pants and the two punks, they running out. The dep got on that walkie-talkie and called the code, right? Locked everything, locked the whole kitchen down, and guards started running in there. They got them up out of there. So they had me, Sibo, the two punks, the guy that brought me back there, and two guys on the line because they had to do their investigation, right? So word went out. When they asked me, like, what was going on, I said, I don't know. This is my first day in the kitchen. I don't know, right? I don't know. I ain't involved, you know. So word, you know, they end up locking Sibo up and they end up locking the two punks up, right? So they asked me like, yo, how long this been going? I don't know. This is my first day. And they like, well, why was you stalling? And I said, cause I don't know. Cause I didn't want to tell them like, yo, I was told by so-and-so that if it's a sock right here on the freezer door, don't open the door. I didn't want to say that because, you know, you can't be in here telling the business in prison, right? I get marked out. So long story short, I get back to the dorm. Ain't nobody eating. Nobody eating because they got to contaminate that, you know, they got to contaminate the freezer because these dudes was in here doing ungodly things. A case in point, that's why I said I understand now why God destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah, right? So they had to take all the food up out the freezer and, you know, get rid of it because these dudes was doing ungodly acts. I'm talking about body fluids and, man, come on, man. Anyway, but word came through the grapevine, right, the prison pipeline, that Dante told on Sibo and the punks. Now, I know it made what it looked like, but it wasn't that. You know, I was in shock. I mean, what I supposed to do? I didn't tell the deps like, yeah, they was in there doing A, B, C, and D. I just said, I don't know. And I guess because I opened the freezer door and seen Sibo and the two punks doing what they doing, I guess Sibo felt like I went out and told the dep, like, hey, they in there doing something. Come on, man. But I didn't. So next thing you know, now they got my name like, hey, man, Dante, Sibo said he gonna see about you when you get out, right? So me and the homies like, man, we tear Sibo up, man. So I'm gonna let y'all know what happened in the next story time about when Sibo got out and what happened when it went down on the yard. But like I said, y'all, make sure y'all be here tomorrow at 11 a.m. for part 2 of this story right here when Sibo got out. I'm out.
If you enjoyed this story time, make sure you leave a comment, hit the like button, and share the video. Until next time, take care.